With Haas continuing to show signs of improvement, the F1 world turns its eyes to Silverstone, a real test for rookie Aiden Jackson, as he returns home with the hopes of impressing the crowd and earning their support at the historic circuit.
Hello?
Hello, mate.
Who is this?
Oh, come on, keep up. It's Devon.
Butler?
The very same.
How did you get this number?
It doesn't really matter. Listen. I just wanted to pass on a bit of friendly advice.
Oh.
Now, it's always tricky racing on your home track. The pressure, all the fans watching, it's a nightmare.
Right, yeah, I imagine it is.
But if you keep your cool, you stay focused, you will get through it, okay? Just imagine it's a different circuit on the other side of the planet. Then, when your race does fall apart, it'll be a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, great advice.
I knew you'd think so. Anyway, good luck out there today. Just try and make it to the end, eh? Ta-ta!
Yeah, good luck to you too. I'll see you later.
Capitalising on a fantastic Q3, Aiden Jackson is enjoying one of his finest career performances when a front right puncture threatens to ruin his chances of a top 5 finish. With friends and family in the stands and the crowd behind him, Jackson sets his sights.
Okay, the gap behind is 2.9 seconds.
Tyres are gone.
Copy, Aiden. Box.
Copy.
Let's just minimise the damage.
As you can see, what hard it is for the young Brit. But we have 2 objectives in this race. It's probably the first one with both. Which only the two objectives. So first of all is simply bonus the pits. And despite just doing a little bit of, I would say Tokyo drifting, but we're not in Japan, so I guess more, Northampton drifting or something. How about Dulwich drifting? There we go. That's it. We're going to come in and pit for the fastest compound with soft compound tyres. So now, as you can see to the left hand side of your screen, our objective now is to get to the top 10 and we're down in 17. So let's see what Aiden Jackson can salvage.
Still time left to push for the points here, Aiden.
Copy.
So, as we can see, we're about to send a great move on Pierre. We thought about the inside, but instead, Aiden Jackson's going to go around the outside of that corner. Fantastic stuff by the young Brit on home soil.
Nice
to now
move.
move himself into P17. But as we all know, so episode 3 especially, you will know why that's the case. But then moving on to the end of lap 7, picking up from the middle, we now caught up swiftly to the Alpha Romeo or Kimi Raikkonen, and past the 2007 World Champion by Judas Bernardi. With that said, now there was a bit of a gap and we skipped to lap 9 and there's contact with George Russell. But it seems to be the 2 Brits haven't lost too much damage on initial review as we get past George, but actually we have Aiden Jackson, if you look very closely, has lost a little bit of his front wing right-sided element. Actually it's left in real sense, but from our POV it's right, so that's going to majorly hamper his performance. As we now send the move on the king of the late breakers around the inside. We get a little bit too hot-headed being a rookie, remember, but we managed to hold the curve and racing brilliantly to fend off the Australian in his Renault powered machinery. And after overtaking both our teammates Casper and Sebastian in the pits, he left the recording become beautiful move on the outside of the Red Bull of Alexander Albon. A fantastic, courageous attempt by the Brett who's about to now take on, someone who was causing a bit of riff-raff on the phone calls if you're not paying attention earlier on, being Devon Buttface. And now we're going to try and take the wider line to set us up perfectly for the next corner. Remembering both in 2020 the Haas and the Williams have a similar amount of performance. We've got the energy recovery, we've got the drag reduction, and it's fair to say with Aiden Jackson blessed mode, he was easily able to score his way into the points with 2 minutes to spare, which is just frankly amazing. Next up, it's now about to overtake the Mexican of Sergio Perez on the outside after Beckett and Abby Eagles improvements on here with FV2, and we absolutely destroyed his career. Now, we did a 4-second drive up the road to get to Carlos and Leclerc, but as you can see, Later on into lap 12, the penultimate lap of this 13 race, we're going to try and send the move outside of the corner, actually the inside, sorry, but it absolutely works, and we're now up into P8, which is 4 points. Actually 5 when you had the fastest lap, which is an incredible performance, considering even Jackson was down in 17th if you remember. But with having said that, Charles Leclerc is going to be useless to our pure Jackson powers, as like the King of Pop, we are clearly the king of the racetrack, as we're able to soar past Ferrari's young hotshot, and who is now transitioning to being the team leader. But 7th in the end, fantastic performance, but unlike usual, this is not the end.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Here we are then, a fantastic British Grand Prix, and what a performance it was from our race winners today. What a race for young Aiden Jackson. If he can keep this up, he's got a long, promising career in front of him.
Absolutely. He'll have been gutted about that puncture. Imagine what kind of challenge he'd have been able to make without it. You've got to give it to him though. He gritted his teeth and pulled it back. Great driving.
Now whisper it quietly, but things seem to be on the up for Haas's Aiden Jackson. One to watch.
Despite suffering a puncture mid-race, Jackson manages to overcome the odds, securing a brilliant points finish for Haas at the British Grand Prix.
Brian,
Well, someone's the hot topic in the press room.
what do you mean?
Oh, come on. There's no need to be so modest.
What are you on about, Brian?
Well, after that puncture, everyone thought you'd lost it. But to pull it back and into the points, it's all anyone's talking about.
Well, I'm glad the press is starting to take notice.
Oh, get used to it. They put a bunch of interviews in your diary for tomorrow. It's why I was calling.
Right, thanks for letting me know.
So don't celebrate too hard tonight, eh?
Yeah, alright, Brian. Don't worry. I'm only going to see my mum.
Right. Well, each to their own.
See you later, Brian.
While the grid heads off to Monza, the team at Haas have managed to find some welcome consistency during the second half of the 2020 season. Both drivers are hungry to gain ground in the competition, but Aiden Jackson is determined to outperform his teammate Casper Ackermann, both in the standings and in the eyes of the team.
I'm not sure if it's something to do with the energy storage, but I'm losing power on the straights.
Right. And you said the acceleration was okay? We'll take a look at it. And how are we today, chaps? Everything running smoothly, I hope?
All right, Brian. Yeah, we're just going through a few last-minute tweaks.
Ah, that's what I like to see. With dedication like that, maybe you'll be able to get us back a few more of those points, eh?
Yeah, I'll try.
Actually, Aiden, I'm glad I've caught up with you. Thought you might like to know. I had a call this morning from Mattinotto, you directly.
Oh.
I think they're sniffing around next season. You're being watched.
So, then?
So, what's the problem with the car?
I'm losing power on the straights. It's not a massive issue. I'm sure we can deal with it.
Now, theoretically, do we have time to install the Spec 2 unit before the race?
Yes, boss.
And Casper's reporting no problems?
No.
Okay, let's do it. Put the Spec 2 in Aiden's, would you?
Well, that would sort it. I mean, if you're sure.
Of course. You could do with a little boost. A little boost. Besides, anything for our star driver. Casper, how are you today? Feeling good about the race?
Brian.
Aiden, I'm glad I've called you. Listen, don't worry about Casper.
Let me stop you there. Brian, Casper's the furthest thing from my mind right now. I've got a race to focus on.
Good man. In the garage just now, that was my fault. I know how he can be.
What, childish? Self-centered? I'm sick of it, Brian. He's been on my case ever since I joined the team. He needs to grow up.
Okay. You just leave Casper to me and get your head in the race. Let's put that new power unit to good use, eh?
Sure thing, Brian. See you on the other side.
Jackson looks to take full advantage of his car's new power unit to the vexation of his teammate Casper Ackerman. With the grid set, his focus locked in, Jackson is eager to show Ackerman why has some.
Welcome to Monza, where the crowd are ready for today's action. And we hope you're ready to see the world's best drivers fighting it out for that #1 spot. It's time for the Italian Grand Prix. Here we are then, Monza, the 90th time this event has been held. So a special year for F1 fans, particularly the Italians, who are rightly proud of this event and its heritage.
Yeah, it always feels a bit special here, doesn't it, Crofty? Hamilton holds the joint record with Schumacher for number of wins here at 5 apiece, but could snatch it outright today with a 6.
Nearly 100 years of history here, so let's see what this year holds in store for the Italian Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Ackerman, Carlos Sainz and Perez, Norris, Ricciardo, Stroll and Alexander Albon, Ocon, Leclerc, George Russell and Butler, Vettel, Kvyat, Antonio Giovinazzi and Aiden Jackson. Gasly and Kimi Raikkonen finishes off the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Right, let's see if we can squeeze some performance out of this new power unit. Good luck out there today.
After the incredible charge by Aiden Jackson, we're now fast forwarding this little bit of footage as we're sitting right on the tails of Esteban Ocon, but we've got a great run around the outside, and that has snuck us into 11th position. We've just got 8 more victims to overtake. No, it should be 7 actually, 1 of the 2. You may guess the correct answer in the comments, and we'll give you a heart whichever one you got right, and then we'll be overtaking Casper Ackerman and completing the objective, which you saw is to beat him. So we're into the points now as we clearly dispatch of Lance Stroll, deploying all the energy recovery systems on hand, and then trying to go for a move around the outside of Norris, make a tiny bit of contact with the Brit, but the 2 Britonians absolutely fight it out. But Aiden Jackson is just again the king of the racetrack, and what he wants to say. So, regaining our ERS, we're going to follow in the slipstream of Carlos Sainz and Alexander Albon. We're going to get past the Red Bull. Do we get past the McLaren going into Parabolica? Absolutely we do. We mount the curb slightly, which is not good for the car. It does slightly compromise your exit, but it worked out smoothly in the end. And later on in lap 2, it's an action back start. We do the same move to the king of the late breakers, Daniel Ricciardo, if we get to his teammate. He currently, as of time of making this video, the latest Formula Grand Prix winner. And yes, we absolutely made a fantastic overtaking. Because the Haas is slower than a boat, it has now meant that with our fresher newer power unit on a set of mediums, as we're trying to go through a longer stint in this race, Casper Ackerman is sitting duck from Verstappen for much longer, sadly. But here we are, coming up to the elder statesman, the elder Dutchman. Some say the not-so-flying Dutchman, because he's stuck in 4th and our Haas is rubbish. Anyway, we're about to take number 54 around the outside, we believe, of the court of the straight, going into Parabolica. Casper backs out, and that is Aiden Jackson on the medium tyres into 4th position. Later on lap 3, we get a beautiful set of DRS into the third long straight of Monza. It's a very narrow one. Max Verstappen pushing us all the way, but Aiden Jackson keeps it clean, keeps it on the road, all while attempting to set the fastest lap of the race, even though he was already purple. And then he's like, he chokes it up because Jeff was talking on the radio. He locked up the fronts. That's the problem with the Monza. If you make the suspension too stiff, lockups are very likely to occur, causing you into a spinola. So, I guess you could say we had a spinola. Insert your names with the timestamp and it happened in the comment section below. If you so please, we're about to send a move on Perez and get even more aggressive after we did turn Silverstone. A little bit of contact with the Racing Point's Mexican driver, but no damage done. As you can see, we're now at lap number 7. So, what happened? We're just driving along, trying to get as close as we can to the Flying Dutchman. But, yes, they finally added the difficulty. As you can see there on the left side, on the second to left, the first row, middle screen, you get past Verstappen, you can adjust the difficulty. But there's one problem with it. If you do it during the race, which so far is the only option, you cannot, as we're about to enter the pit lane to change onto our soft tyres, as we do this very efficiently in order to maintain our lead in the Italian Grand Prix 2020, as it is the 90th Grand Prix of the Italian GP ever held. If you, with braking points difficulty, decide to do it during the race and change it, you have to restart the challenge all over again. Why is it placed in the middle of the options menu and Codemasters make little attempt to explain to players that they can do this? And I never remember it being when we recorded the original footage. Let me tell you this now, because this original episode, along with episodes 4 and a couple more onwards, have all been completely lost, so we've had to re-record everything. But despite getting in front of the Mercedes, we have another spinola. Aiden Jackson, he's got all this power and he doesn't know what to do with it. So let's take a look at that with a replay. As you can see, we're going way too aggressive. We're putting the power on way too early, when in reality we should have maybe broken a little bit sooner and maybe coasted the car into the corner. But thankfully not too much damage has occurred to the Haas, and we had such a big lead gap it didn't really matter. As Aiden Jackson's about to take his second Formula 1 Grand Prix win at the Italian Grand Prix 2020.
Absolutely awesome. Just amazing. Well done.
Well, quite the rivalry forming between the rookie Aiden Jackson and his veteran teammate Casper Ackermann.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of when Hamilton signed from McLaren back in 2007. And we all know how that one ended. Alonso returned to Renault pretty much the moment the season wrapped up.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. The quality and fantastic result of the Haas team will have been noticed by everyone else out there today. You can see why everyone's taking them so seriously. These drivers will be hot property by the end of the season.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. Well, you couldn't have asked for a better result today. Congratulations, Aiden. Top spot on the podium. How are you feeling?
Fantastic. I couldn't be happier. I mean, it's the dream, right? I've not got much to say. I'm gonna take all of this in, lap it up, and then probably go and ring my mum.
A big talking point, irrespective of today's results, is how you've improved overall throughout the season. What would you say to that?
It's taken me a while to adjust, sure, but it's not so much improvement as me showing what I could already do. I think where I'm at now is a good starting point. It's what comes next. That'll be the real asset to the team.
It's funny you should mention the team as a whole. Can you give us an update? How is the current relationship between you and Casper Ackermann?
Casper's got a way about him, you know. He's hot-headed. He can get offended easily. I'm learning that I've just got to accept that. Any problems are his, not mine.
Appreciate your time.